In this video, we are going to learn how to install Ionic and Cordova CLIs. Ionic CLI is the command line interface that once you install, allows you to run commands to complete tasks like creating a new Ionic application, running the Ionic application in the browser, building the application, and so on. All these tasks are taken care of by the Ionic CLI, and all we have to do is just run commands that the CLI offers. It helps us to do a lot of things very quickly and easily. It allows us to build the project for Android and iOS once we are done with coding our application. While in development, it also allows us to add new pages, components, services, etc. to our project very easily. So now that we know what is the Ionic CLI, let's go ahead and install the Ionic CLI, and since Ionic uses Cordova, we'll also be installing the Cordova CLI. We'll not be using the Cordova CLI directly, but it will be used by the Ionic CLI behind the scenes. The first step is to ensure that Node.js has been installed successfully on your system. So go ahead and type in the command node-v, and this should give you the version of Node.js installed on your system. Open up a terminal or command prompt if you are on Windows and type in the command node-v. This gives you the version of Node.js installed on your system. I have version 10.13.0, which is the latest version available at the time of this recording. Once you have verified the version of Node.js installed on your system, you can go ahead and use npm to install Ionic CLI. npm stands for Node Package Manager, which is installed when you install Node.js. It helps you manage all the Node packages on your system. Ionic CLI is also available as a Node module, and therefore we'll be using npm to install the Ionic CLI. The command to install the Ionic CLI is npm install ionic-g. The -g flag here makes sure that the Ionic CLI is installed globally on your system, and you can execute Ionic CLI commands from anywhere on your system. Similarly, you can execute the command npm install cordova-g to install the Cordova CLI. Since we'll be installing both Ionic and Cordova, we can use a single command to install both Ionic and Cordova in one go. All we have to do is type in npm install ionic cordova-g. This command installs both Ionic and Cordova on your system globally. Let's go ahead and do that. If you are on Windows, this command is enough. But if you are using a Mac just like me, you would want to use sudo to make sure that you are running this command with administrator privileges. Go ahead and press return. And in just a few minutes, both Ionic and Cordova CLIs will be installed on our system. And as you can see, both Ionic and Cordova CLIs are installed on my system. The CLI version for Ionic is 4.3.1 and that for Cordova is 8.1.2. You can also verify the versions by typing in the commands ionic-v, which will give you the version of CLI installed on your system. You can see that the version of the CLI is 4.3.1. Similarly, you can find out the version of Cordova CLI installed. All you have to do is just type in Cordova-v. And the version of Cordova is 8.1.2. So now that we have installed the Ionic and Cordova CLIs, let's go ahead and create our very first Ionic application.